Let me ask you something. Why do some men walk into a room and every woman's head turns, while others could scream their lungs out and still be invisible? You think it's looks, money, luck? No, it's power, not the kind you flaunt, but the kind you radiate. The kind that comes from a mind that understands how people think, what they crave, and how to control both. You see, Machiavelli once said, "Men are so simple and so subject to present necessities that he who deceives will always find someone who will let himself be deceived." In other words, people are predictable, desire is predictable, and if you understand it, you can make anyone chase you. But that's not what they want you to know. They tell you, just be nice, be yourself, compliment her. Machiavelli would call that weakness disguised as virtue. The truth? The more you want someone, the less they want you. Attraction isn't found in chasing, it's found in control. Control of your emotions, control of your image, control of your silence. You become irresistible when people can't tell if they want you or fear losing you. So today, we're going to do what most men never dare to do. We're going to enter the dark side of attraction. The psychology of power, mystery, and emotional dominance, straight through Machiavelli's eyes. This isn't about pick-up tricks. It's about mastering energy. And by the time this is over, you'll understand why the most irresistible men don't chase love. They create desire. What's the most dangerous kind of attraction? Physical, emotional, or psychological? Drop your answer. I want to see how dark your mind really is. The first step to becoming irresistible isn't what you wear. It's not your cologne, your haircut, or your Instagram followers. It's how you carry your silence. Machiavelli understood something most modern men have forgotten. You don't have to be powerful, you only have to look like you are. Power is an illusion, but it's an illusion that controls the world. When you enter a room, people are subconsciously asking, who here sets the tone? If that answer isn't you, you're invisible. Power is calm. Power doesn't chase. Power doesn't explain. It watches. It measures. You ever seen a man speak slowly, move deliberately, like the whole room bends to his tempo? That's the Machiavellian aura. It's the energy that says, I don't need to impress you, but you'll remember me anyway. Women don't fall for words. They fall for vibes. They fall for that unbothered energy. The feeling that you're a storm she wants to step into, even though she knows it might destroy her. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Translate that into modern attraction, and it means this: be loved for your confidence but respected for your control. Because a man who can control his emotions, who can walk away, stay silent, or smile through chaos, becomes a mystery the world wants to solve. When you meet someone unreadable, calm, silent, composed, do you feel drawn to them or intimidated? Tell me below. Let me tell you something most people will never admit out loud. The more you care, the weaker you look. Not because emotions are bad, but because the moment you show too much of them, you hand someone the blueprint to control you. Machiavelli understood that every man lives between two forces, desire and fear. The one who controls those forces controls the game. In attraction, that means this: whoever feels more loses first. Think about it. The guy who texts too fast, the guy who waits by the phone, the guy who overthinks every word she says, he's already defeated himself. She doesn't have to reject him. He's already submitted. Machiavelli would look at that man and say, he has given his enemy the weapon that will destroy him. Emotional control isn't about being cold. It's about being strategic. The most irresistible people don't deny emotion. They master it. When you can feel everything but show nothing, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability? That's intoxicating, because now she doesn't know if you're interested or if she's the one chasing. That confusion creates curiosity. Curiosity creates obsession. You've seen it happen before. The person who cares less somehow always ends up with more power. Machiavelli knew it. He wrote that a ruler must learn to act against mercy, against faith, against humanity when necessary, to protect his power. The same principle applies here. You don't cut off empathy forever. You decide when to show it. Picture attraction like fire. If you burn too fast, you scare people away. If you burn too low, they lose interest. The goal is to control the flame, just bright enough to draw them in, just cold enough to make them work for the warmth. That's emotional detachment. You control when to give warmth, when to pull it away. You become a psychological rhythm that people start dancing to without even realizing it. When you smile less, people crave your approval. When you speak less, people hang on every word. When you react less, people overanalyze your silence. You become the calm in the storm, and calm, my friend, is magnetic. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." Translation: control your emotions first, before they control you. Every time you get angry, anxious, or desperate to impress someone, you lose leverage. The most dangerous man in any room is the one whose emotions never show, because you can't predict what you can't read. Women notice this. It's not about pretending to be heartless. It's about radiating composure. When you stop reacting, people start investing. They chase what feels uncertain. Here's a move straight out of the Machiavellian playbook. Learn to withdraw. Pull your energy away right when people expect it most. Why? Because absence amplifies value. When you disappear, they fill the silence with imagination. When you stay unavailable, you create demand. It's not ghosting, it's strategy. You're reminding them that your attention is rare. That they don't own your time. That they're not the center of your world. Machiavelli would say, men should either be caressed or annihilated. In attraction, that means you either give someone genuine presence or you vanish completely. Nothing in between. Because half interest is weakness and full obsession is control. The heart wants connection. The mind wants dominance. The irresistible man blends both. He uses empathy to read people and detachment to protect himself. He listens to what she says, but pays attention to what she doesn't. That's Machiavellian perception. You see, most people listen to respond. You should listen to learn where their weakness lives. When you understand how someone feels, you can control how they act. That's not cruelty. It's awareness. Be honest. When someone pulls away from you, do you chase harder or fall back? Which side of that game are you usually on? Drop it in the comments. Because self-awareness is the first step toward control. There's a reason the people who seem emotionless are so addictive. They're not emotionless, they're disciplined. They've learned the most powerful secret in attraction. Attention is currency. The less you spend it, the more valuable it becomes. Machiavelli didn't waste his moves. He observed, waited, and struck only when it mattered. You should do the same. Don't text back instantly. Don't over-compliment. Don't let your availability kill your mystery. Value is born from restraint. At the core of it all, the dark truth is this. You become irresistible when you stop needing to be liked, when you walk away from people who play games, without bitterness, without explanation, when you make silence louder than begging. That's when your presence becomes a weapon. And women, people in general, feel that. They feel the difference between a man who wants them and a man who chooses them. One is seeking permission, the other is granting it. The goal isn't to become heartless. The goal is to become untouchable. Because once your emotions belong to you and you alone, you become the kind of man Machiavelli would have written books about. Calm, collected, unreadable, and utterly irresistible. In part 3, we go deeper into the psychological tactics that make desire grow in silence, the mirror technique, how to reflect her own emotions back until she confuses curiosity with chemistry. What's harder for you, staying silent when you want to speak, or walking away when you want to stay? I want to see who's really learning the Machiavellian way. If you want to become irresistible, you must learn to become a mirror. Machiavelli understood this. People don't fall in love with you. They fall in love with the reflection of themselves they see in you. Every human being craves one thing above all, to feel understood. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to make her feel like you get her in ways no one else does. That's the mirror technique. It's not about lying. It's about understanding. About observing how someone moves, speaks, reacts, and then subtly aligning with it until they feel a magnetic familiarity they can't explain. Because the mind confuses familiarity with connection. Machiavelli didn't win power through force alone. He made people trust him by being what they wanted to see. You can do the same. In attraction, in influence, in any social dynamic. When you meet someone, pay attention, not to what they say, but how they say it. Their tone, their rhythm, their body language. Do they talk fast or slow? Do they gesture when they speak, or do they stay still? Now match it, subtly. When people see themselves reflected back, they feel safe. They don't consciously notice it. They just feel comfortable around you. That comfort slowly evolves into trust. Trust evolves into attraction. Attraction evolves into obsession, and it all starts with one illusion. They just get me. Machiavelli wrote, "Men are won over by the appearance of things than by the reality." Translation, people are more influenced by how you make them feel than who you actually are. When you master the mirror technique, you stop trying to impress. You become whatever their subconscious desires most. You study their energy and reflect it with control. If she's loud and playful, you match it. Then slowly bring her tone down until she follows your lead. If she's quiet and mysterious, you match her calm, but add a hint of unpredictability to keep her guessing. You shift, you adapt, but you always stay one step ahead. When she's happy, you amplify it. When she's sad, you slow your tone, you move like water, fluid, ungraspable, reflective. Because when you reflect her energy, she begins to feel connected without understanding why. That's how emotional addiction starts. She doesn't crave you. She craves how she feels when she's around you. You become her mirror, the source of her emotional high. And once that happens, you don't have to chase anything. You simply exist, and she seeks your presence to feel whole again. Machiavelli would tell you, the one who defines the terms controls the conversation. The same applies emotionally. When you define the tone of interaction, you control the rhythm of connection. If you stay calm while she's flustered, your calm becomes contagious. If you stay detached while she's emotional, your detachment becomes power. And here's the paradox. The calmer you are, the more emotional she becomes. Machiavelli would tell you, the one who defines the terms controls the conversation. The same applies emotionally. When you define the tone of interaction, you control the rhythm of connection. If you stay calm while she's flustered, your calm becomes contagious. If you stay detached while she's emotional, your detachment becomes power. And here's the paradox. The calmer you are, the more emotional she becomes. This is not about manipulation. It's about perception. Machiavelli never said to destroy people. He said to understand them so deeply that you could predict what they do before they even realized it. You're not faking empathy. You're mastering it. You listen, you watch, you calculate. Every reaction she gives you is a data point. Every word, every glance, every pause. When she laughs, you notice what kind of humor hit. When she opens up, you notice what emotion triggered it. And over time, you know exactly what makes her open, close, trust, or chase. That's psychological mastery. That's Machiavellian empathy. But here's the danger and the beauty. When you become a mirror for others, you risk losing your own reflection. Don't forget your core. Don't forget that your power comes from control. You can reflect others, but you must never absorb them. Remember, a mirror shows everything but reveals nothing. Be reflective, but never transparent. Because once people can read your emotions, they can rewrite your story. Do you think people fall in love with you or the version of you they create in their mind? Which one are you, the mirror or the reflection? Drop your answer below. Machiavelli would often study people at banquets, not to be friendly, but to understand how they moved, who they looked at when they laughed, who they tried to impress, who they ignored. He could predict alliances, betrayals, and desires before a word was spoken. In modern terms, he was reading energy. If you can read energy, you can control attraction. If you can mirror emotion, you can rewrite perception. Next time you talk to someone, try this experiment. Match their tone, match their posture. Then slowly, intentionally shift your energy, become calmer, quieter, more composed. Watch what happens. They'll start to mirror you. That's the transfer of dominance. That's when you go from reacting to leading. And in every social game, the one who leads energy wins. Attraction isn't luck. It's not random. It's a series of psychological cues that either raise your value or destroy it. Machiavelli's mirror technique isn't about pretending to be someone else. It's about learning to control how people feel around you. And when you control that, you control everything. This next section will teach you how withholding energy creates obsession and how Machiavelli's principle of controlled distance makes your presence addictive. What do you think creates stronger attraction? Constant attention or controlled distance? Drop your truth below. Every man wants to be desired, but the ones who are desired understand a secret most never will. The less you give, the more you're wanted. Machiavelli built his entire philosophy on scarcity, on the power of withholding. He knew that what's rare becomes sacred. People don't value what's always available. They crave what they can't reach. Attraction works the same way. You don't become irresistible by showing up everywhere. You become irresistible by being felt even when you're gone. Because when your presence is rare, your absence becomes powerful. Machiavelli once said, "Men value lightly what is gained with ease." That's not just about politics, it's about psychology. The human mind assigns value to what's difficult to obtain, so if your time, attention, and energy are too accessible, you teach people to take them for granted. The opposite is also true. When you become selective, when your energy feels earned, people begin to chase it. Think about this. When someone constantly texts you, calls you, seeks validation, it's flattering at first. But soon, it becomes noise. It loses its spark. Now imagine someone who disappears for a while, no posts, no updates, no attention, and then suddenly reappears, calm, composed, unbothered. Instantly, your mind starts asking questions. Where have they been? Who were they with? Why don't they need me anymore? That's the power of controlled distance. You're not ignoring people. You're reminding them that your attention is a privilege. Here's what most people get wrong about attraction. They think attention equals interest. It doesn't. Attention equals investment. And investment only happens when something feels limited. That's why the less time you give someone, the more they try to earn it. Machiavelli used scarcity as a weapon of influence. He would withdraw favor, silence his voice, or delay responses, not out of arrogance, but because silence forces reflection. When people can't read you, they start writing stories about you. Those stories become fantasies, and fantasies create obsession. When you're too available, you send a silent message. I have nothing better to do. But when you disappear strategically, when you choose to be silent in a world that never stops talking, your energy becomes elite. Your absence becomes an event. People start to notice your silence more than they ever noticed your presence. That's the paradox. The less you're seen, the more you're remembered. Machiavelli said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are." So your goal isn't to be constantly understood. Your goal is to be strategically misunderstood. When people don't fully know you, they project their own desires onto you. One person sees you as confident, another sees you as dangerous, another sees you as mysterious. You didn't change, their perception did. Scarcity gives people space to imagine you, and imagination is the most addictive drug on earth. When you pull back, when you go quiet, when you stop texting, when you stop posting, you create withdrawal. It's a psychological craving. The same part of the brain that triggers when an addict misses a hit activates when someone feels cut off from a source of validation. But here's the trick. You don't withhold to punish, you withhold to retrain perception. You're teaching the world to see you as rare currency. When your attention returns, it feels like a reward. Machiavelli mastered the rhythm of presence and absence. He appeared only when his image needed reinforcing, then vanished before familiarity could dull his power. You should do the same. When people think they've figured you out, vanish. When they stop asking questions, create silence. When they think you're predictable, change pace. Predictability is the death of desire. You must remain a moving target. In today's world, everyone overshares. They post every meal, every thought, every mood. But mystery thrives on distance. Stop announcing your life. Curate it. Post less, speak less, reveal less. Let people fill in the blanks. Because when they don't know what's happening behind the scenes, they assume something greater is. You become larger than life. Machiavelli would say, appear rare. Let your silence scream power. Be honest. When someone goes silent on you, does it make you lose interest? Or does it make you want them more? Drop your answer below. Let's see who's self-aware enough to admit it. Scarcity doesn't mean isolation. You still show interest, but you show it on your terms. You choose when to appear. You choose when to engage. You choose when to vanish. That rhythm keeps people off balance, and being off balance keeps them hooked, because attraction fades in certainty and thrives in confusion. Machiavelli didn't teach people how to be cruel. He taught them how to understand human nature. He knew that attention, emotion, and presence were currencies, and those who spend them recklessly end up broke. So hold your energy, choose your silence, make people earn your attention. Because the moment your presence becomes a reward instead of a routine, you become unforgettable. In the next section, you'll learn how to use charm and deception to control perception, how to wear different masks for different people without ever losing your identity underneath. What's more powerful, your presence or your silence? Which one leaves a bigger mark? Everyone wears a mask. The mistake isn't wearing one, it's forgetting that you do. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must appear virtuous even when he acts out of strategy. He didn't mean to fake goodness, he meant to understand presentation. The mask is the version of you that the world can read. It's your armor, your signal, your first impression. The problem? Most people let the mask control them instead of learning to control it. 1. The power of perception. In every room, people are forming stories about you. Are you confident or uncertain, focused or restless, a leader or a follower? You can't stop those judgments, but you can guide them. Stand with intention, speak with rhythm, not rush. Look people in the eyes long enough to show awareness, not dominance. That's not manipulation, that's communication. 2. Choosing the mask. Your mask should match the environment, not erase who you are. At work, your mask is discipline. With friends, your mask is ease. With someone you love, your mask is vulnerability wrapped in confidence. Adaptability is power, but authenticity is the anchor that keeps you from drifting. Machiavelli's wisdom here is simple. Control the appearance, never lose the essence. 3. Charm without deception. Charm is awareness turned outward. You notice small details, the tone in someone's laugh, the way their posture changes when they're comfortable, and you respond with precision. The goal isn't to trick them, it's to meet them where they are so real communication can happen. That's how leaders, artists, and thinkers win loyalty. They make others feel seen. 4. Reading the room. Machiavelli observed that power belonged to those who understood the crowd better than the crowd understood itself. Before you speak, read. Before you act, observe. When the mood is loud, lower your energy. When it's tense, become calm. You become the center of gravity, the person everyone unconsciously adjusts to. And 5. When to remove the mask. There's a moment in every real connection where the mask must drop. Not for everyone, just for those who've earned it. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's controlled exposure. When you show a piece of your truth at the right time, it turns power into intimacy. Even Machiavelli knew that loyalty built on respect lasts longer than loyalty built on fear. When do you feel most yourself? Around everyone or only around a few? Drop your answer below and see how others balance their own masks. The mask isn't fake, it's focus. Learn to wear it with awareness, adjust it with intention, remove it with courage, because mastery of your persona isn't about deceiving the world, it's about moving through it without losing yourself. The most dangerous man isn't the one who can control others, it's the one who can control himself. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the disciplined, because power slips through the hands of those ruled by emotion. Every outburst, every impulsive decision, every reaction given too quickly is a small surrender of power. You can't lead, attract, or command respect until you conquer your own volatility. Pause before you speak. Notice the heat before it turns into rage. Real strength is the ability to feel everything and still choose your response. Emotional intelligence begins when you start asking yourself, what outcome do I want, instead of, how do I feel right now? That single question separates leaders from followers. Machiavelli observed that rulers who reacted to every insult fell faster than those who stayed composed. In modern life, that means don't let a comment section, a text, or a rumor pull you out of character. Learn to delay your emotions. Let them cool. Let them settle. When you speak after the storm has passed, your words cut twice as deep. Have you ever noticed how calm people draw everyone's attention? It's not magic. It's emotional steadiness. Their tone never spikes. Their breathing stays slow. They radiate safety and control, qualities that people instinctively trust. Machiavelli would call that command without force. Practice it. Lower your volume instead of raising it. Move slower when others rush. In chaos, stillness becomes magnetic. Emotional intelligence isn't only about your own restraint, it's about perceiving others accurately. Listen to the emotion behind words. Notice the eyes before the smile. When you understand what people feel, you communicate to that feeling, not just the surface. It's empathy with boundaries, compassion guided by awareness. That's how you turn connection into influence without crossing into control. Machiavelli warned against being ruled by mercy or cruelty alone, because both without reason become weakness. The same applies to your moods. Anger means a boundary was crossed. Fear means you're facing growth. Jealousy means you're measuring wrongly. Feel them, read them, but don't obey them. A master uses emotion as data, not direction. Before replying, pause. Before assuming, breathe. A single second of silence can change an entire outcome. That pause is where intelligence replaces impulse. Machiavelli's princes paused before striking, not because they were weak, but because they wanted precision. Adopt that. Every day create space between feeling and action. Over time, that space becomes power. What's harder for you? Staying calm when angry or speaking up when nervous? Drop your truth in the comments, because self-command begins with self-awareness. Mastering emotion isn't about being emotionless. It's about being so aware of yourself that no feeling can hijack your purpose. You'll still feel love, fear, anger, but they'll flow through you instead of ruling you. That's the Machiavellian paradox. The colder your mind, the warmer your impact, because people trust those who remain steady when everyone else falls apart. In a world addicted to reaction, your calm will look like mystery, your restraint will look like strength, and your self-command will make you unforgettable. Before we continue, answer this. When life shakes you, what helps you regain control? Silence or movement? Machiavelli said that a leader's presence should inspire more than his words, because energy speaks before you ever open your mouth. The question is, what does your energy say? Do people feel peace when you enter a room, or tension? Do they lean in or look away? Every movement, every breath, every pause broadcasts a signal. I'm grounded, or I'm uncertain. Influence begins in that invisible signal. Before someone trusts you, before they're attracted to you, before they even decide if they like you and they feel you, you've felt it too. That moment when someone walks in and the whole atmosphere changes. They didn't say a word, but everyone noticed. That's not magic. That's self-command radiating outward. Machiavelli understood that composure is contagious. Calm people calm the room. Confident people steady the crowd. The goal isn't to force attention, it's to anchor it. When your energy is still, people orbit it. Energy is currency. You can spend it, waste it, or invest it. Gossip spends it. Jealousy wastes it. Focus invests it. The more selective you are about where your attention goes, the stronger your presence becomes. Machiavelli wrote that wise men guard their resources. Emotion and focus are resources. So before you speak, ask, does this moment deserve my energy? Every no strengthens your next yes. Most people try to be louder to be noticed. The powerful become quieter, because stillness is rare, and rarity creates value. Stillness doesn't mean silence, it means composure. Your movements are deliberate, your words measured, your reactions minimal. That's what makes others lean forward. Machiavelli would call that commanding the stage without demanding it. Try it. When tension rises, lower your tone. When others rush, slow down. You'll see it. The atmosphere bends toward your rhythm. People are drawn to certainty like planets to a sun. The stronger your self-belief, the stronger your gravitational pull. You don't get that belief from pretending. You get it from repetition, doing the hard things quietly until confidence becomes muscle memory. When you walk into a room having already fought your battles, no one can shake you. That's the essence of charisma. Calm energy backed by proof of discipline. You can't fake that. You can only build it. Influence isn't domination, it's exchange. When you meet someone, the question isn't how do I control them? It's what energy am I giving and what am I receiving? Give stability, take insight. Give curiosity, take respect. If you leave people lighter, they'll seek you. If you drain them, they'll avoid you, and no matter how impressive you look. Machiavelli warned that fear without love breeds rebellion. In life, power without warmth breeds distance. Balance both, authority with empathy, strength with patience. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. The more you grow, the more people will try to feed off your focus. Guard your peace like a fortress. You can be kind without being available. You can listen without absorbing. You can care without collapsing. Machiavelli would say, defend your borders or someone else will rule within them. Your boundaries are those borders. Set them quietly. Enforce them consistently. What drains you the most? Noise, negativity, or overthinking? Drop it below. Awareness is step one toward power. Real influence doesn't come from tricks or tactics. It comes from energy that others trust. When your presence feels grounded, your words carry weight. When your focus is disciplined, your silence becomes a statement. Machiavelli mastered politics. You can master presence, and presence, controlled, steady, unshakable, is the modern form of power. Because in a world of chaos, calm is charisma. And when you learn to project peace while everyone else projects noise, you won't just be noticed, you'll be followed. This last section will close our journey. How to live by these principles every day. Confidence without arrogance, mystery without manipulation, and calm that turns respect into attraction. Every idea you've heard until now, mystery, detachment, silence, energy, leads to one truth. The person who knows himself completely will always draw the world in. Machiavelli wrote that fortune bends to those who are prepared. Preparation in life and attraction is inner stability. You can't fake it, you build it, moment by moment, habit by habit, choice by choice. Before you master others, master your mind. Build routines that sharpen you. Read, train, rest, think. Keep promises to yourself, even small ones. Every time you do, your self-respect grows, and people feel that. The world reflects how you treat yourself. Machiavelli ruled through perception. You rule through integrity. Your consistency becomes your crown. Modern life rewards noise, constant movement, constant posting. But power hides in stillness. Stillness lets you think. Stillness lets others reveal themselves. When everyone else rushes to prove, you pause. When others panic, you breathe. That's how leaders are born, in moments when everyone else loses their center. Calm is the highest currency. True confidence doesn't need to announce itself. You've seen arrogance, loud, defensive, hungry for validation. Confidence is quieter. It's eye contact that doesn't flinch, posture that doesn't shrink, tone that doesn't apologize for existing. Machiavelli warned that pride destroys kingdoms, so wear confidence like armor, strong, silent, purposeful, never like a crown demanding worship. Attention fades fast, respect endures. Anyone can get noticed, shout, shock, overshare. But respect is earned through reliability, depth, and mystery. When you walk with discipline and speak with clarity, people notice without you needing to fight for it. Attention feeds the ego, respect builds legacy. Every great thinker, Machiavelli, Sun Tzu, Marcus Aurelius, taught the same lesson in different words. Control yourself, and you control the world around you. Your habits shape your aura. Your aura shapes your opportunities. Be the person whose life quietly teaches others how power and peace can exist together. That's real influence. Not domination, but demonstration. Remember the mirror. The power to reflect, not to deceive. Keep it clean. Let it show truth, not illusion. When you meet people, let them see steadiness, purpose, and self-respect in that reflection, because what they see in you reminds them of what they could become. That's how admiration turns into loyalty. What's one principle from this series you'll start living today? Silence, detachment, discipline, or self-respect? Drop it below. The answer you type is the seed you'll water. Being irresistible isn't about control, beauty, or status. It's about clarity. Clarity in purpose, clarity in boundaries, clarity in energy. When you know who you are, you stop chasing what doesn't align. You move differently. You speak differently. That's what people feel as the calm of a man who no longer negotiates with his worth. Machiavelli would call that supreme strategy. You'll call it freedom. So guard your focus, speak with intention, move with discipline, and let your life become the proof that mystery and morality can exist in the same body. Because power, in its highest form, isn't manipulation, it's mastery. You are your own kingdom. Rule it well.